Okay, well, good. We've started recording. Okay, hello everyone. Good evening and welcome to our first session of Beyond Bootcamp, from learning to thriving. So I'm so excited to see all of you here tonight, ready to grow, ready to learn, ready to take your design journey seriously. So this series or this mentorship program was actually created to actually help you move beyond what you've learned in your bootcamp, or maybe if you're self-taught, right? And actually begin building with clarity, building with confidence, and also building as a designer. So you're not just learning, but you're also growing in your journey as a designer. So over the next few weeks, we're going to walk through different phases, right? Today's phase is finding direction, getting clarity, from the confusion state or whatever state you had, so actually finding clarity, right? We're also going to have some practical session. They will have a session where you are able to build your portfolio as well. But I know it's going to be really a great time, right? And tonight, let's focus on tonight. Tonight we're going to be starting with our first session, which is very intentional, and it's finding your footing. That's from confusion to clarity. This is such an important topic because I believe that every designer has that stage where things kind of feel confusing. They don't know, like, okay, what do I need to do? How do I need to start? What's my niche? Do I want to be a UI designer? Do I want to be a UX designer? Do I want to focus on product design? Or what exactly do I want to do? Do I want to work with this or that, basically? So tonight's section will actually help us find direction, and also help us to build your own personal roadmap, right? You know what you want to be in the next few months, you know where you want to be in the next, like, a year after, right? That kind of thing. It's not just vibes, right? You're not just doing this for vibes, but you have to be like intentional about your growth. All right. So to kick off, we have an incredible design expert. I intentionally wrote expert because this is who she is, right? We've had privilege to work together, and I know she knows her onions. Let me use that word, right? Clock it, clock it, clock it. All right. I'm going to be introducing her briefly. Okay. You already saw, you've seen the pretty face. I know you'll be wondering, who is this pretty designer? She's here. All right. So to kick off this journey today, we have an incredible guest, an expert, a UX designer at WHG in the UK. The UK. So Ayomide is a passionate UX designer committed to crafting purposeful and impactful digital experiences that empowers communities and inspire lasting social change. She believes design should do more than look good; it should do good. Wow. With a strong focus on human-centered design, she champions solutions that promote accessibility. So if you want more clarity about that as well, or when it's time, if you want, we have when you book them one-on-one, right? But I will let us know. I'll keep us posted about that. So she champions solutions that promote accessibility, inclusivity. I say inclusivity, God. Inclusivity and meaningful value for people and communities they serve. My bad. Please help us to welcome our special speaker for today, designer, or we say coach, Ayomide Ogunbayo. Can we welcome her?
Thank you for that.
Yeah, so today she will share a bit of her story, her personal story, how she found clarity in her design path. Also understanding your niche, UX, UI, product design research, then also how to assess your strengths, your interests, your goal. She has a lot for us. Let me just let her do her thing. Welcome, Ayomide, and thank you for joining. I also want to say shout out to Dami for joining us on this call. Today's not a session, but thank you for supporting us. Right, so let's get started. Over to you, Ayomide.
Thank you, Fola, for the hype. Welcome everyone to the first week of the bootcamp. I hope that you find it useful. I hope um, at the end of this 4 week journey, you it's not just going to be like any other regular bootcamp, it's going to give you clarity and direction on what you need to do and how to go about it moving forward. So I will share my screen briefly. Please give me a moment. Uh, yeah. Please let me know if you can see my screen, although I'm not sure if people are using their systems for this or their phones. Okay. All right, got it. So today I'll be talking about finding your footing from confusion to clarity. And I'll just get right into it. So firstly, I'll be giving you an idea of who I am, just so that you know that really, oh, I was also at this point in my life where I had just finished a boot camp and I was trying to, you know, navigate the whole industry to understand how to get started. I call myself a UX designer, and as we're moving forward, why I term myself a UX designer. I got a master's in user experience design. And yeah, I'll tell you a bit about my journey just so that it's relatable to you. I used to work as a solar project engineer before transitioning into UX design. And my transition started in 2021. That COVID hit, a lot of things went crazy during that period, and people were just trying to get something doing, also myself. I started with the Udacity Nano Degree course online. I'm not sure if you guys are quite familiar with Udacity. There are so many like Udemy. Um, okay, thank you, Miriam and Xiao. So I took the Udacity course, and that was the beginning of my journey. Interestingly, that course was supposed to take me 3 months, but I finished in 1 month because I was so focused and I really just wanted my life to get in order. And since then, it's been up from there. From there, I had my first non-paid role with a lady in the US. I don't remember the name of the company. That's interesting. But then it was an unpaid role, but I really needed it because that set me off to my first paid role in Harvest in Lagos, Nigeria. So from bootcamp, I worked on myself to build my portfolio, to be marketable, to that lady who needed, the name of the company was Room Place. She was an interior designer trying to design a platform for interior designers and people in need of their service to come together and find each other. Yeah, so after that, I got my job in Harvest. Then I worked with Fola in Global Accelerex and came abroad for a master's. And currently, I work in WHG. So I hope I just didn't bore you with all of that. But mostly, I worked in fintech, and currently, I work in housing tech. Today, what are we going over? This is just a summary of what we'll be doing today. I'll be talking about where we are at the moment. I'm guessing most of us are at that phase where we are most likely around completing a bootcamp or have completed a bootcamp. And even if you're just starting, it's fine. I'll be covering all grounds. And also, I'll be talking about how you can design your own roadmap to finding your own footing. And I'll be sharing resources and tools at the end of this meeting. So quickly, I want everyone to describe how they're feeling about their design journey at the moment in the comment section. Are you feeling proud? Are you feeling under pressure? Are you confused? Are you hopeful, intimidated, accomplished? Any other word that is not here, feel free to, pop it in the chat. I want it to be a bit interactive. Determined and hopeful, that's great. Um, any other person want to share how they're feeling at the moment? Hopeful. That's great. I remember when I super excited, lovely. When I started, I think mine was more of very determined, and I was also clueless at the same time. So that really drove me. The fact that I was determined drove me to finding clarity on my journey. Hopeful and determined, never enough. Or okay, I'll just move forward with the slides. Now, all those feelings, now what? I want you to know that you're not alone. And it is very normal for you to feel this way when you're starting a new journey. Even sometimes people who feel that they have it all figured out, even myself, sometimes at work, I'm just like, oh God, what do I need to do next? And it's very normal to feel like you don't have things figured out. Everybody will say they don't have things figured out and they just bring it. And the fact that you show up every day to be intentional, to figure things out is what sets you apart from people who don't do anything about their state of their feelings in that moment. Intentionality makes you or helps you to gain clarity as you move along on your journey. So you have to first acknowledge your feelings, that you feel this way and you want to address how you feel about your journey, and that is how you can move forward and forge ahead. Okay, second poll, I promise, and this is the last poll today. I want to have an idea of the audience, of the people in the audience. I want to know if you're just finishing your boot camp, if you have a CV looking good, if you're about to just begin your journey, or if you're just observing, or if your CV needs work. I want to have an idea of the people I'm currently speaking with, just so I know what direction to go on for today's meeting. Beginner, okay. Okay. Started basic design projects with Canva. That's really great. I want to know if anyone took any design course at all, even if it's YouTube videos or any structured design courses. Please let me know in the comment section. Oh, lovely. You just got your first job. Congratulations. Started applying for roles. That's really great. Yeah, at the right place. um, okay, so Iremlekun took some courses. Really great to know that. Yeah, one thing I would like to say. Oh, I'm still getting some responses. Give me a moment. In a bootcamp or mentorship program, a beginner practice for a while. Used Canva, also do design for a while. Okay. Now, I'm very glad to see that people took courses, because it's very important that you are actually serious about this journey. It's not something you just double upon because it's trending or because you feel you can do some designs. Good course foundational work is very important in this journey, as it helps you to weigh your strengths and know what you need to work on. Finished boot camp last year and yet to create a CV. Okay, just finished an internship. Great. Okay, so I'll be starting off with what an average or a general designer's roadmap looks like before we go into creating your own personal roadmap to meet you where you are at in your journey. For me, when I started, I really didn't know what UX UI design was. I'll be very honest. I was having a discussion with a friend on how I was downloading multiple apps to see. I mean, they were all game apps. I'm trying to remember. I think it was Candy Crush, and I think we had about 2 or 3 types there. And I was just telling him how someone could have done this better, and he was like, "Oh, you really be great at UX." I was like, "No, what's that?" I honestly had no idea what it was. So I had to do the foundational work of getting familiar to understand what this is about. And that is why, for me, for people I've mentored in the past, I always say, make sure you have a structured course. It helps you to have direction on what you're doing. In as much as I know it's okay to have YouTube videos, look for channels where they compile a progressive, learning path for you, as that helps you to know exactly where you're at, what you need to do. Because everybody has content on YouTube or Udemy, but a structured course helps you to know, okay, today we are learning design thinking. Okay, tomorrow we're learning research. Next tomorrow we're learning prototyping, and always choose a course that helps you to build a project at the end of that course. That is how you get familiar. That is how you have a solid foundation in UI UX design. One thing I also tell my mentees is that sometimes there's so many buzzwords, you really don't know what's going on. It's okay to just Google and have short videos and see what each word might mean before you settle into anything major, just so that you don't finish a whole bootcamp course and then realize that's not what you really want to do. Choose a learning path, like I've said, and also develop your skill. I always recommend a course that has a project attached to it. So at the end of that course, you have a project that you can attach to your portfolio, because that is how you learn. You can't just learn by watching and not doing. Phase two for a general designer's roadmap will be building your portfolio, improving your public profiles like LinkedIn, your resume, and just putting yourself together so that someone who wants to hire a UX designer knows that, okay, this one knows what they're doing. Like I told you when I started, after my nano degree, I had just one project. I think it was one project on that course, I'm not sure. But at the end of the day, I made sure I had three, because when I spoke to other people in the industry, they were like, have at least three projects to show that you know what you're doing. So try to build your portfolio, even if it's just on Behance. You don't have to have a website. And now there are other tools that exist at the moment that probably didn't exist when I was learning, that you can, put two or three projects together, build on what you've learned on your course, and create more projects to put something together that makes you marketable. Talk about what you've done, put it on LinkedIn. You have to be active. You cannot be quiet about your journey. For someone like me, I'm not really loud about my career on social media. Like some people are very confident on Twitter to talk about their careers. But one thing I did was on LinkedIn, I made sure I put myself out there. I did a design challenge. I think I also created an Instagram account one time to put out myself, and also work on your resume. Now that you've built all these projects over time, put it on your resume and say, yes, you did this, with this, you created this result. And then the final phase for most people who are transitioning, to becoming designers, is the launch phase, where you're now doing more collaborations with other people, with other experts with other skill sets. For example, I always advise that most times people in your circles could only be designers. Try to find an engineer who's also just starting, who's trying to find a designer to build a project together. Find a product manager who is also starting, who's trying to put a project together. Collaborate with people with other skill sets, just so you can say, yes, you have real world projects on your portfolio. um, at this third phase, most people are also trying to land a job. For you to land a job, you have to show that you're marketable, and that is how you build yourself up onto that phase. And also networking, talk to people, connect with people on LinkedIn. Please don't be shy. Like there is no shame. Most times people read what you write, you type, and they scroll, they interact with it, and that's it. You know, Nobody thinks about what they saw me post 3 days after they've seen it, except maybe they are really interested in my project and want to follow up on it. Don't be shy to put yourself out there. You really never know who is watching. So now I'll be talking briefly on getting familiar with the terms in UI UX design. There's so many terms. Like I said, when I started, I didn't know what was what, but I'll just be doing brief touch points, because from the from the comment section, I see that people are actually already in it. So you kind of have an idea of what we're all doing here, but I'll still like to talk about it. So I'll be starting from who a UI designer is. And remember, I told you at the beginning that I call myself a UI designer for a reason. So I'm going to tell you at this phase. A UI designer is someone who deals with how things look and feel on the screen. What color palette are we using? What fonts, what layout? How does it feel? There are some apps you download and actually just want to keep logging onto because of how homely the app feels, the flow, how everything looks so beautiful. That's what a UI designer, does. There are companies that actually do look out to hire UI designers, and you could land the job if this is what you love to do. A UX designer, on the other hand, is someone who understands a user's needs and their behaviors, and puts together all that information to build a structure of how the app should flow. For example, when a user loads your app, the home screen, do you want them to sign in first before they have a feel of your app? Do you want them to sign in using Google? Do you want them to use their email after signing in? Do you want them to see a home screen, or do you want to take them around the app using, tool tips? A UX designer is someone who has gone through that phase of understanding what a user might actually need, probably has even done a little bit of research, to understanding what exists on the market and how our own products can be better. A UX designer puts all this user information together to build the information architecture, the flow. You just won't see your settings button sitting on your home screen. No. A UX designer is someone who actually thinks that this shouldn't be here. It should probably be in the profile settings. A UX researcher is someone who majorly is dealing as simple as that, research. So this person sits down to understand what the business needs, puts together questions, reads, if possible, reads, studies what other people have done, and then put together questions to research the target market for that particular product. We have people who are actually majored in UX research. I'm not sure, I think her name is Tawak. Come across her profile once. She's a very solid UX researcher. Fola, please help me with her name in the comments. I don't know what her full name is. I think her name is Tawak or something. Um, those are people you can follow, just to have an idea of what they do for a living. Then the product designer or product design is someone who, besides just the UI UX, also is involved in the strategy of what we're launching first, who we're talking to in product management, who we're talking to in marketing, customer service, how we want to launch this product. There are times that most recruiters recruit one person and expect you to do everything. That's how crazy the job market is these days. I've found myself as a UX designer on a UX designer role where I've also done product design, where I'm talking to stakeholders to understand, okay, maybe we should not release this feature now. Maybe we should wait a bit before we release US dollar feature. Maybe we should wait a moment before we, let's talk to marketing. How many days to launch do we want to start teasing? A product designer is more involved in the business as a whole, as opposed to all these other roles. Now, the reason why I call myself a UX designer is because most times a UX designer has an idea of what a UI designer does and what a UX researcher does. UX designer is the entire experience. You cannot call yourself a UX designer and you know how to do UI, because when you want to present your projects, to people that eventually hire you, have to show them that at least you know how to use colors, you know how to use fonts, you know how to use hierarchy. You can't just claim you're a UX designer and you don't understand the purpose to which why we might be placing, a particular feature on the homepage, or if we want to hide it in the search. A UX designer goes and understands the entire design thinking process. That is how I learned, in my own course on being a UX designer. You can't just say you're a UX designer and not have a bit of research, or have a bit of synthesizing that research, or have a bit of UI, or have a bit of testing, because you have to understand why we're doing what we're doing. And that depends on what your company needs you to do in that moment for you to function properly in your role. I hope I've not confused you with this little explanation. So I'll just switch forward with the next slide. Um, Now, I'll talk briefly on industries you can work in. You can work in e-commerce and retail, the likes of, trying to think of Nigerian companies that are into e-commerce, Ebano, ShopRite. What's the name of this delivery company that is trending now in Lagos? I can't remember. Oh, God. The child deck, those are people that are in charge of helping people solve things, e-commerce, putting different vendors together on a platform and helping them to sell their products. You can also work in fintech. I used to work in fintech in Harvest, and thank you. Thank you for that. Very popular thing. I'm laughing because I've had very interesting experience with that app. Also, you can work in fintech. I used to work in fintech with Fola at Global Accelerax, and also I have experience working in Harvest and also TJP. You can work in healthcare and wellness. Say companies that are into maybe the NHS, for example, or wellness, people that are into massages, like any company basically that requires human interaction. Like I said in the footnotes, any company or any service that requires human interaction with technology, and they're trying to build a digital product, basically needs a UX UI designer or a researcher or a product designer. I work in entertainment, media, your Netflix, the likes of your what's it called? Netflix and all other streaming apps, or your TV, for example. You can also watch the streaming apps on your TV. They need the likes of UX designers. Education and learning, government and public services, and social impact and non-profit organization. Basically, any company that needs users to use their products needs a UX designer, UI designer, or a researcher or product designers. Now let's build your personal roadmap together. I hope I'm not rushing, and I hope I'm carrying you along. Please drop a reaction. Thank you very much. let's build your personal roadmap together. Remember, I talked about the roadmap for the general UI UX designer. So we have phase one, phase two, phase three. Phase one, where is your foundation, phase two, where you're building, and phase three, when you launch. Now, everybody different parts of their journeys. It might not really apply to you. How can you build your own personal roadmap? Okay, let's begin. Firstly, I want you to know that there are three simple steps to building your personal roadmap. Number one is identifying where you are at. Someone, for example, who just is beginning, and someone who just completed their bootcamp and not on the same, are not at the same phase of their journey. Someone who is already applying for a role, or someone who is fine-tuning their CV and not on the same journey. So you have to be very honest with where you're at the moment. Then you set your goals, prioritize your goals, and you take progressive action. These are the very three simple steps to building your personal roadmaps. However, I'll be walking you through it just so you have clarity on what I'm talking about. So firstly, you have to take stock. You have to start from where you are. Questions to ask yourself is, where am I? What do I have? What do I enjoy doing? Where do I want to be? And what do I need? These questions are very important in helping you to build your personal roadmaps. It is, I call it an honesty sheet, where you put every single thing. For example, what if I'm currently taking a course in UX research and I don't really enjoy it? So why are you there? Pivot, you've had enough feel of it and you no longer enjoy it. You don't really enjoy it. Go where you try other things and see what you really enjoy. Like I wrote here, what you enjoy is your interest identifier. Where you want to be is your goal identifier. And what you need, or what do you need, is your goal setter. Those are things you need to consider when putting together your product, your personal roadmap. I'm going to talk briefly about what you enjoy. For example, this man over here has a KFC chicken box for him, so he enjoys KFC. But for you, for example, what do you enjoy? Do you enjoy talking to people? Do you enjoy research? Do you enjoy understanding processes? Do you enjoy animation? Someone who enjoys animation, it can only make sense that they'll say, oh, they want to go into game design. For someone that doesn't enjoy animation that much and finds it frustrating, they might have interest in talking to people more and want to maybe do research or do more of UX design. So you have to know you have to be very honest with what you enjoy, because if you're joining tech to make money, like one of my mentors would say, you might be lucky, but most times you have to do a lot of work to be able to attain that level of money in your pocket you want. So do what you enjoy, so that even when you get stuff, the journey is not going to be frustrating and you just be angry for no reason. Please, and for you to know what you enjoy, please, you have to get familiar with the options that actually do exist. Just like I mentioned earlier at the start of this meeting, what are the options? What industries? What skills? Will people pay you for? You have to do your research. You have to put yourself out there. I used YouTube a lot during the start of my own journey, just so I understood what the options were. Now, this was my this was my journal, my career journal at the beginning of my design journey. I don't think I can zoom in, but you can zoom in with your devices. You see that this was labeled Goals 2021. I wrote this probably around June or March, I don't know. But as you can see, I made my vision very plain. What do I want? How can I get to where I want to be? I wrote finish with a sitting and a degree by August 2021, create a marketable portfolio by September 2021. It was time-based. I was not playing. You have to be honest with yourself. You have to be for real. You have to take your life seriously. Become a UX designer by September. Become a paid UX intern, although it wasn't paid, unfortunately, by September 2021. Become a full-time UX UI designer by January 2022. This was my own personal note to myself at the mid of 2021, when I started my journey. As you can see, I also listed career paths that were available to me. And interestingly, I took UX design. When I saw this while preparing this presentation, I was quite impressed. As it showed, I was very focused with my journey, I took UX design, there's UI, there's graphic, there's visual, there's UX writing, researcher, product manager. These were all the things I did research on to decide what I wanted to do. And I'm so proud of myself for following through on this journey. Um, so yes, I'll go to the next slide. As you can see, I wrote down my goals and I put a time on it. The first one I wrote August 2021. I ticked it by July 10, 2021. Mind you, this is something I'm also going to mention moving forward um on this presentation. You can't compare yourself. If you're working a 9 to 5 at the moment, you can't compare yourself to someone who's probably out of jobs and has all the free time in the world to focus on a course. I was out of job during this period of my life, so I had nothing else to do and to focus on this. And I finished a 3 month course in about a month because I couldn't even afford to pay for the next course. Audacity was quite expensive for me as a then. I had to pay dollars. Each goal was time based and was very, realistic for my own timeline because I felt I was free and I had the time to do every single thing. And if you also notice, August to September, I gave myself time to create a marketable portfolio in as much as I knew that that course I was finishing had a project. I wanted to add more to my project to be able to call it a portfolio. So you have to think about the steps for your own self you think, would help you to get where you're at. Now, for someone who's probably job hunting, they won't need to probably have all of this take a Audacity course. For someone who's job hunting, you might be applied to 5 jobs a day. I've been in several phases of my career where I've been job hunting, and trust me when I say I've applied to hundreds of jobs in a month is actually insane. But yeah, this is just to show you that your journey is different from every other person's journey. You have to take account for yourself. You have to be honest with yourself. The next slide says you have to dream big and you have to be very specific. Firstly, your present you, put it on one side. This is a template I would be sharing with Fola at the end of this so she can put it in the community channels so that everyone can utilize it if they want to. Take stock of your present you and your future you. Your present you, what skills do you have? What tools do you know? What's your expertise? What do you do right now as your present self, your projects, your network? I remember there was this lady I mentored when I was just rounding up my old boot camp and I started my job in Lagos and she was in London. She used to work in healthcare and she was tired of working in healthcare for her role and wanted to pivot into UX design. I worked with her, from having that job role to becoming who she wanted to be. And I was very happy and glad that she was able to land a job in, I think, I can't remember the name of the company. That's very interesting, but it's in BBC London. And she was very, excited. And for me, in as much as I was mentoring her, it was also a testimony to me. you know, I knew I was helping her get through these goals. It just goes to show you that taking stock and being honest about your journey and working towards your goals actually creates results. So please put your present self on one side of the column, put your future self on the other side of the column, and say, okay, what skills do I want to have in the next 2, 3 years? What learning resources do I want to have finished? What do I want my portfolio to look like? What job title do I want? Just like my former mentee who was working in health and health care and now wanted to transition into UX. What tools do I want to know? What do I want my network to look like? What do I want my LinkedIn to look like? Who do I want to collaborate with? What impact do I want to have in the next 3 years? You have to be very specific with your goals. Just like myself, I wrote finish nano degree. I just didn't write become a UX designer. No, finish nano degree course, have a marketable portfolio, apply for jobs, or rather get a paid internship. You have to be very specific with your goals. Now that we're clear on, a few things on beginning your own personal roadmap, I will now help you identify what the gaps are. I call those gaps bridges because it's helping get not right now they can be a gap, but by the time you begin to list those actionable steps to becoming your future you, they become a bridge or slash opportunity to becoming the person you want to be. I'll give you an example of this person. Say, for example, this person understands UX, this person knows Figma and Miro. This person has no online activity, they have no UX job yet, they only have bootcamp projects, no professional network. Their future self is saying they want to be more confident in research. They want to be comfortable with team-ready tools. They want to be active on LinkedIn. They want to become a junior UX designer. They want to do more volunteer work and collaborative work. And they want to have an active professional network. Now, if you look at the first line, just so you understand it more, someone who says they want to understand the UX basics, someone who presently understands the UX basics, and in the future, they want to be more confident in research and storytelling. The bridge to that is what? Actions. That's what I call the bridge. Action. What do you want to do to become that person? You want to practice usability testing with peers, Shikena. Or you want to create a case study to help your storytelling abilities and to also talk about the impact. Second line is they currently know Figma and Miro, but they want to be more comfortable with team-ready tools. What are the things they want to do? They want to learn Zeppelin, Trello, Notion. Anything you want to do, you have to be very specific. It's like an action. Those bridges are actions to get you to your future self. And trust me, these things work. For me, one thing, I always have a to-do list. I always have a sticky note with a time-based goal. This is how you get to that. This is how you become who you want to become in the future. You have to be very honest with where you are at, where you want to be, and create that bridge with actionable steps to becoming who you want to be. For example, this person has no online activity, but they want to be active on LinkedIn and Behance. What do? They want to put, what would they do? They want to post once a month about their learnings or reflections. For someone who has no job yet and they want to become a junior UX designer, you know, you need a CV. You write your CV, you have to apply to 2 jobs a day. I'm telling you, able to choose 2 jobs a day is not so much. I've done I've done 5, 6. It's actually insane when you're job hunting. Do you want to cold mail? There is no shyness in cold mailing people. There is no shame. You are the one that knows where you want to be. You have to put yourself out there. You have to do the work, to be honest. Then for someone who has only bootcamp projects and the future of them wants to do more collaborative work, what would they do? They'll take on small freelance work, volunteer project work, join a design hackathon. I also remember I joined a design hackathon once when I designed a mental health app. And interestingly, all these things were things I added to my CV to be able to get my first job at Harvest. Because at the end of the day, you need to tell the HR or the owner of the company that yes, or the recruiter rather, that yes, this is what I'm able to do. This is how I think. This is my result. And that is the only way you can get a job. You have to do work. You have to add to your portfolio. You have to do more projects. And for someone with no professional network, and they want to have an active professional network, what do you become that person? One actionable step is attend at least one meet a month, connect with 5 more designers on LinkedIn. These are actionable steps to getting you to where you want to be. Now that we understand, how to become who we want to be using actionable bridges, like I always say, time-based actionable bridges, you have to prioritize those bridges. For example, for someone who feels maybe learning kind of tools to engineers is not really a priority, you can put it on maybe 2. That's probably towards the end. If you feel maybe your CV right now is not really what you want to work on, it can be priority 3. But right now, what are the things you want to learn? Do you want to learn Figma? Do you want to take an extra course online? Do you want to, get more familiar with design terminologies? You can prioritize it based on your own knowledge and what you think is the best for you to forge ahead. Now, the final stage for building your own personalized roadmap is to visualize it. Now that we know what the gaps are, the actionable gaps to getting you to where you want to be, put it in phases. Say in the next 3 months, if I put all these priorities on a list, at the end of, let's say, January, I want to have a portfolio. My portfolio must be ready. At the end of June 2026, I want to have applied to 100 jobs, at least have 5 interviews, by the end of June 2026. You have to put all those priorities now into phases to help you get to, where you want to be. And that is how you design your own personal roadmap. One thing I'll say is your personal roadmap is not a rigid plan. It is something that you have to revise over and over. So one thing I forgot to say when I was talking about what you have is resources. Your time is a resource. It's something you have to put into consideration when you are I'll go back a bit because it has to do with the timeline here. It's something you have to put into consideration when you're creating your roadmap. For example, I think I also mentioned it already. Someone who works a 9 to 5 and gets home by 8 in the night and probably only has Saturday and Sunday to themselves. It's not the same as someone who probably works from home, does a part-time job, or maybe helps out at the store and can use their laptop by the side. You have to be honest. How much time do I have in a day to put towards my goals? So if I have just 2 hours a day, okay, that's 10 hours a week. Then you can work with those 10 hours a week to visualize your roadmap. Time as a resource is very important in visualizing your roadmap. Again, I'll say your roadmap is a living document, it's not a rigid plan, because in the next um, 3 weeks, a factor in your life might change that might affect your timing. So you have to go back and say, okay, now I have more time on my hands. What can I do to this plan to help me achieve it more? Okay, now I have less time. How does this affect my own personal roadmap to my future self? Celebrate your wins no matter how small. It is very important. I remember then anytime I designed something, I was very excited to show my mom. It was just so magical in my own side. Please celebrate your wins and talk about your work. There is no shame in celebrating your wins for maybe redesigning a mobile app that already exists. If you like redesign GT app homepage, celebrate it as a win that yesterday this is what I did, this is how I went about it, and I consider this a win. It is growth. You have to celebrate your wins as it gives you more, it gives you more motivation to do the next thing on your list. And please revisit your plan and see what has worked, what needs adjusting, and what you need to do. On the final note, I'll say, like my friend always tell me, make sure you are going forward in life, in anything you're doing for your career. Make sure you are going forward. Make sure you are putting in the work. Because the truth is, for someone who you feel, oh my God, this girl just got a job. Ah, she's so lucky. She did the work. She went forward. She did not stop. No matter how little, make sure you're going forward. Do the work. Progress comes from consistent effort and not shortcuts. Do the work, share your work, because if you're doing the work and no one knows what you're doing, then you're doing it for yourself. Share your work so that at least you're gathering that visibility on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Instagram, on WhatsApp, whatever it is. I remember I've referred lots of my friends for a role because they shared that. Oh, I remember one of my friends told me he used to take UX courses and teach people who wanted to learn UX design. And then that was years ago. So this is 2025. Someone else reached out to me on Instagram and said, Ayo, you're a UX designer. Do you know anyone who can teach UX design? And he was the only one I could think of, and thankfully he got the role. So please share your work because you really never know who has you in mind and who can refer you for a role in the future. Make sure you keep learning, because if you don't keep learning, in as much as you might be at phase 100 of your career, you can become obsolete very easily. You have to keep learning with what is trending at the moment. Make sure you keep learning, build your network. These are steps to getting forward. Build your network. Make sure you have the right people, in your circle. Follow more people on LinkedIn who post about their wins, who you probably see at similar phases with you, or people who you want to be like. I remember when I started my journey, there was someone that I was always, very happy to see, because our journey was very relatable to mine, and it gave me more motivation to see that these things are actually possible. So please build your network. Make sure you connect with these people. There is no shame in doing that. And like I've said before, please celebrate your wins. I'll be rounding this off with a career guide I've created and I've shared with my network and my mentees in the past. I'm sharing this with Fola and she'll be distributing it also on all channels. So anyone who is interested in a simple plan to get in and transitioning into UX design is free of charge. It's free of charge, no money attached. In this career guide, you get steps to getting started. You get learning resources where you can learn. For anyone who's probably just getting started, learning resources, you get job boards to find opportunities and interview preparation tips. When I started my journey, I didn't have anyone to help me with these things. And I created this career guide, to help people who are coming in to say, okay, these are little steps that can help you to get where you want to be. So please, if you're interested in this, I'll be sharing it on all channels. Thank you for having me. I hope I didn't bore you out. Thank you for listening to my yap. Do have a lovely evening. Fola, are you here? um, I don't know, Fola, you're muted just in case you're speaking. You're welcome.
Wow, thank you so much, Ayomide. Wow, that was really, 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 really wonderful. And I love your the way you use your slide, your teaching. Wow, that's really, really thoughtful of you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much. Thank you. It was really a powerful first session. Like this is like the start. So like you wet the ground for us and we know there's more to come. So before we wrap up today, I don't know if anyone has a question, but before we take questions, can one or two persons just like share with us their take home? What did they learn from this class? If no one raise their hand, I'll just call somebody. So just get ready. So what did you learn? What's your key takeaway? Let me use that word. Key takeaway from this session. What are you taking from this session? What is your action? What action are you taking after this session? Right? I'm waiting. I'll call names. Okay, someone has raised. Okay, Sabrina.
Thank you very much, UI. Your slides were really interactive. So my takeaway from this session is to have a study roadmap. My approach with design has not been very much like my approach with being a developer. When I started programming, I had a very clear roadmap. But for designing, I just drag my cursor around Figma or Canva until something pops up the page. So I'm going to decide what specifics I want to do in design and have a roadmap.
That's great. I'm glad to hear that because that's really the only way you can move forward with your goals. Anything you don't write down and action with tasks, you feel like, oh, I have it figured out, but you forget things you want to do. So that's a great way to go about it. Taiwo, um,
Yeah, good evening. Thank you
good
so much
evening.
for the insightful session.
Yeah,
Even though I was not able to join on time, but the few minutes I was able to spend, yeah, it was an eye opener. But I actually have a question.
yeah.
Um, Within the space of 3 months, I've seen internship opportunities, roles to take, but sincerely, I was afraid of taking those opportunities. I even have friends who are web developers. They are willing to give me job spots. I'm afraid to take them. Why? Because I had that kind of fear that will I be able to do the perfect job, and the kind of experience I had to during boot camps and training are collaborative roles where three, four, 10 people worked on a project. But this time around, it's
Mm,
feel kind of daunting to say I want to take a project and I'll be the only one to do it from beginning to the end. So
mm,
how do you think I can handle that area to be able to get that self confidence that I can do this thing and take up
mm.
internship roles at least to start with?
Okay. Sorry, Taiwo, what did you say last?
Eh, Sorry, I said what advice can you give on what I can do to be able to gain that confidence of taking internship roles? Because I feel,
Mm,
do I still have to keep taking on more training and training, or
mm.
because it's like it's a different ball game entirely when you are handling a project alone and when you are working with maybe
Yeah,
three, four, 5 people on a project.
yeah.
So
Well,
that's my
I'm very
question.
honest with you. you just have to you have to take the leap, you know. Firstly, I would not just say take the leap at any project. I would advise that ask questions. Before I take a project, I ask a question. What does this project entail? What is required of me? This is very, very common with people who also do freelance roles, because there are projects that maybe just require a website, and that's easy. But I've worked on a project where I was the only one that designed the customer facing app, web and mobile, the admin facing app, web and mobile, and also the website. So ask questions about what the project entails and also give them what to expect. You know, if someone is telling you in 1 week they want you to finish designing mobile app and web app for customer and admin, you just tell them, sorry, sir, cannot, that's not possible. But for someone who's trying to gain experience, you have to, first of all, have this mindset that you can do hard things. You can do hard things. The main purpose why you started in the first place was to get projects, was to actually transition and become a designer. You're even very lucky that you have people who are putting opportunities on your plate. That is not something a lot of designers have. There are designers that they're even looking for those opportunities. Let's say those opportunities are scarce for you. This is not the same mindset you're going to have when you finally even get one to follow in your lap. So please know that you are able to do hard things. And the purpose to which you started was actually to get into the system and to start. So have that mindset that you can do hard things, number one. Number two, ask questions about what the project entails. So in as much as you know that, okay, it can just be an internship and I'll be the only UX designer on the team, what is expected of me for this project, and have that expectation of the fact that this is what I'm going to expect, while joining this project or the team. I'm also trying to think about things I did when I joined Harvest. Yeah, to be honest, I'll just say have that confidence that you can do hard things and you can do it. And opportunities just don't fall on everybody's lap like that. So you have the opportunity, you should be grabbing it with your both hands and also ask questions about what this project entails, because it might be something that you might be really interested in. Another tip and thing I also do is when these opportunities come my way and they say, oh, this is what the project entails, I'll say, okay, give me time to think about it. What do? I just go and do research. I take a look at what people have done in the past or projects like that that currently exist. And by the time you begin to visualize this thing and see what people have done, you know that you can actually do this thing. Okay, so I hope I was able to answer your question. And I don't know if Fola or Dami wants to contribute to helping him, gaining that confidence to take on roles.
I would say what you said already covered a lot of it, right? Because there are people trying to like get those kind of opportunities, and if you are already getting that opportunity, I would say you grab it by the neck, like in fact, hug it tight and go with it, right? Because this is something that people beg and hope for,
Yeah.
and it's really not easy to come by, especially in this age and time where people are looking for opportunities left, right, and center, right? I mean, even more experienced people are hoping for opportunities, right? So please, we are all learners, in my opinion. It's all about confidence. A friend of mine will say, what differentiates a junior from a senior is confidence, right? So yeah, please, any opportunity you get, try your best at it, right? At least give it a go. To me, I don't see rejection as a bad thing. It's just a sign that there is something you still need to learn to then get better at, right? So give it a go. It's better that you try and you are not picked for it than saying, oh, I'm scared to go at it. So yeah.
Okay, thank you, Dami. Let me see. Omikule Samuel.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about my take home before. So
Sorry?
what I learned, and I said I wanted to talk about my take home.
Okay.
Yeah. So I because I'm this introvert guy, so I've learned that being a UI design, you have to come out of being an introvert, connect with people. Like your network will help you a lot. Like go on LinkedIn, post your work, make friends with designer, like create a cycle of designer, and I think it will help you a lot to grow. So that's it.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else? Okay. Does anyone have questions? So we'll still have our last session for questions with all the designers. But if you have questions here now, please ask. Okay, it looks like everything was clear, was good. We know what to do. So Ayomide will be sharing a template with us, right? Our coach Ayomide, let's call our coach for this event.
Hello, please.
Our coach Ayomide will be sharing a template with us to work with. Then she's also on the group. Please, no DMs, no personal DMs. Please, let's respect their time. On the chat, after we added them to the group. So please, once she shares the template, start working on it. It needs to be submitted on or before Friday. On or before Friday. If you have any question, please ask on the group. We have all the coaches there. We have all the coaches, and I'm going to also create a one-on-one where we'll have time to they will put a one-on-one session with them. So we'll group the team, the design and everybody, then we'll assign them to each mentor. I want to use code. Okay, so thank you so much, Ayomide. Like I said earlier, it was a powerful first session. Thank you for setting the tone for what this journey is about, Beyond Bootcamp. From learning to thriving. I wanted to do like also say, yeah, everybody, let's say from learning to thriving. Okay, so everybody.
I think there's a question on the chat.
Yeah. Okay.
Says how can we make research, or where can we make research as designers? Do you want to clarify what you mean where? I don't know. I don't understand that question, please. Do you mean like how do you find people to talk to, or like what sites? How do you mean? I need context.
Or are you asking where you can get case studies to work on? Is that what you're asking?
Ma'am. Yes,
okay. Okay.
Okay.
That's what she's asking.
It's been a while, but I could do a quick search for you.
Yeah, there's one that's
very popular, but
yeah. But I think at some point you have to pay or something. But once
is it where to find like case studies? I know there's a random case
real life
study
problems,
generator.
like real life problems. Dami wants to say.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
Coach,
this please. I think this is one of the places where you have to get creative, right? If you don't want to pay or something, you could actually ask ChatGPT to come up with something for you.
Yeah, true.
Don't ask it how to solve it though. Yeah, but you could ask for something, right? You could maybe pick an industry you want to work on, right? Ask it for a product brief or something within that industry, right? So then pick it up from there.
Yeah, that's actually a good one.
Dami.
Thank you, Dami.
No, Coach Dami, please.
Coach Dami.
Please, I'm on my knees.
Okay, before we go, just few quick notes, right? Someone's hand is raised. Kabrina.
Yeah, I wanted to just add something on the question the person asked for research. There are many like university courses or roadmap roadmap websites that can help you, so that when you see like the requirements of the design field you want to go to, all you have left is just to go to the links for research, because those ones are actually more certified and trusted.
Do you want to share any that you know?
You can drop it on the WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm not really a designer. The only roadmaps I know are developer based, but I'll check.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Kabrina. Okay, so as I was saying earlier, I want you to know some things that before our next session on Sunday, which will be by Kutaji, and it's going to be on practice that counts, building work that gets noticed, right? So the replay link will be shared as well by email. I'm going to send it by email. Please always check your email. Ayomide as well will be sending a template you're going to work with, and that task must be done on or before Friday. On or before Friday. And I also mentioned that we're going to have one-on-one. I'm going to confirm what time our coaches will be available so that we can book them. Please take what's the word now? Take this opportunity like you're paying 1 billion for it. Take it like it. You might not be seeing, you might not be seeing all these our coaches like the way you see some popular designers, but they know what they are doing. They are good at what they are doing, right? So please, let's take use of this opportunity to do our tasks, show up, be consistent. Don't just attend 1 week and say, oh, that's all, I'm good. Let's be consistent. Do your tasks. Very, very important. So for everybody that showed up today, I want to say thank you for showing up. And also to our guest for today, Coach Ayomide. Thank you so much. That was really insightful. The video will be posted on YouTube. Aside sharing the drive link with everybody, to also be posted on YouTube so that other people can drink from this river. It's not just us, we get. And also thank you to our other coach for, even today's not a session, but decided to join us. We are so honored to have your presence in our midst. Thank you so much. Thank you everybody for joining. I'm happy that you guys showed up. Please do your tasks, be consistent. You will get a mail by Monday. Let's say by Monday, on or before Monday. The template, please work on it. Ask questions on the group. Please don't go to their DMs. Respect their time. They will respond to us as soon as they can. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. See you next week, Sunday by 6 p.m. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for your time.